Hello, hello. This is Kim Ades, and I am the president and founder of Frame of Mind Coaching. And you have just joined the Frame of Mind Coaching podcast, where we interview or we bring on guests who are willing volunteers to get coached live and in person on the show. Today, it's not just my pleasure, it is my absolute over the top pleasure to introduce to you my guest. He's a friend. He's a colleague of mine. He's also a podcast host. I was on his podcast. His name is Travis Huff, and he is the podcast host for the Be Real podcast. Travis, welcome.
What's good? What's good, Kim? How you doing?
So what happens is when you talk to Travis, your energy just lifts.
Let's go.
By being in the room with him. So Travis, tell us a little bit about you, your podcast, your business, what you do, and
Absolutely.
Then we'll get to your challenge. Go for
100.
it.
Yeah. So, as a kid, I was always an entrepreneur, always loved to make sales, loved to ask people, hey, would you want to buy something? Whether it was a thing out of my house, whether it was a lemonade stand, eventually became a paper boy, sold car wash packages, eventually helped clients with investments at Morgan Stanley when I was in college. And then when I got out of college, I got the blessing to work for the Walt Disney Company, folks, one of the greatest companies in the world, if you believe in magic. And ABC television is where I landed inside the Walt Disney Company. So I started working on television campaigns, creating them from scratch for local businesses, and also working with nationwide clients like McDonald's, at the time, Orchard Supply Hardware, God bless their soul, they're not here anymore. But these big companies that knew what they want, they had the creative ready, and then I needed to figure out ways to speak the lingo. And so I really learned the ins and outs of the business quickly. And then in 2009, just shy of 2009, folks, I was sitting at a Starbucks with a friend. He says, hey, folks, people are going to need their Facebook pages managed. I took the idea. I ran with it. I put together a PowerPoint. And in June of 2009, amongst a recession, amongst a lot of things, we started Real-time Outsource with our very first paying customer. Lennar was a home developer. And we were off to the races. And as they said, the rest is history. A lot of checks since, a lot of hard work, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears since. Started my Be Real show about 5.5 years ago, thinking a great way to interview and meet people at scale, because I wouldn't be able to travel to them. They wouldn't want to come to Fresno possibly. So can we do it through Skype? Can we do it through now Zoom, 4.5, 5 years ago? And that created the Be Real show, where I'm interviewing people around, not only about social media, but it's kind of pivoted, Kim, into about entrepreneurship and mindset and the things that we love. And now every week, I feel like on Mondays when I record, typically, I get to my own mentorship with the 3 or 4 guests that I have on that day. And then the question that I've always had, and that people have always said to me, the more and more I interview people, is your energy is off the hook. And that your energy makes my energy through Zoom elevated. And so I thought to myself, well, what can I do with this? And I don't know. I really don't know. So that's why we're here.
Okay, so can we go back? Tell me, so first of all, that's 100% true.
Yes.
I saw your name on my agenda today. I'm like, I got to bring it.
Oh, let's go.
So I have a few questions for you.
Absolutely.
First question is, let's go back to your business. And let me just understand the technicalities of this a little bit more.
Sure.
What you do is you manage people's Facebook pages, or do you manage their whole entire digital marketing? What do you do specifically so that people can understand and actually reach out to you if they're looking for your services?
Absolutely. So it started with Facebook. It will continue to be Facebook. And then we have branched off into other things. The primary services that we offer is social media. And then also reputation management through a software service that we have, a separate company that we've kind of created over a few years ago, where we have a software that kind of helps you get positive reviews using your email list or using a tablet inside the restaurant, but collecting those positive reviews and then showing them off on your website, as well as getting them to Facebook and Google and all those good places. But really, the simple gist of it is managing your social media, fighting the algorithms, finding things to do, being funny, playful, adding contests, emotions, showing off the stories behind the business, and then doing it at scale where we can help people in places that we wouldn't be able to even talk to them.
Okay.
And Kim, so that comes through our white label partnership, which is through agencies. And so that's kind of our primary
So you
server.
work with agencies. Agencies are
Yes.
your clients.
That's
Okay,
our
got it.
primary server, yeah. And then we also do work with direct businesses, but more through the agencies. The relationship works a lot better, Kim, because a lot of times they're, let's just say in Detroit, they have the relationships, they know what they need, but they just need that social media arm to do the work. And then they can profit from it too, you know. And so
Got it.
that's been our biggest win across the journey is that we just do the work.
Okay. So if you're an agency or if you own a company and you're looking for a social media arm, I will say to you that if you're looking for someone funny, engaging, interesting, dynamic, talk to Travis. And very quickly, how do people reach you? I don't usually do this, but how do
Sure.
people reach you?
Yeah, realtimeoutsource.com. We got many forums on there. Go check me out or find me anywhere on social
Okay,
media.
say
Travis
that
Huff.
slower.
Sure. Realtimeoutsource.com.
Was
Real
that
time.
hard?
No. Realtimeoutsource.com or Travis Huff, Huff as in Frank, anywhere, LinkedIn, all those favorite places. Connect to me. What we'll do first is just check out what you're doing and see what you're doing and give you some advice and tips, and then also give you some ideas about what it would cost to put together plans that not only take the time, but then also using ads. Because a lot of times clients don't use ads. And with targeted strategic ads, over time, it just brings money to them. I
Okay,
mean, time and time
amazing.
again.
So
That's what it
maybe
is.
you and I can talk after, but that's a
Sure.
whole different subject. Okay, so let's talk about your energy. I'm really
Yes.
interested. So is this your actual energy or is this just the energy you bring to a podcast? Is
This
this
is the
you
Zoom energy.
24
This,
hours a day? Like,
no,
talk to me
no,
about that.
no. This is the podcast Zoom energy. You have to elevate yourself, in my opinion, to do a show where you are doing it through a computer. So I like to show off the little fun side and give you a little tea huff and mix it in so that it throws off the dynamic of just me talking the same way the whole time. And so I found that that's what I bring. Not only as a podcast guest, but when I'm doing my social media trainings at scale, or my bringing team training, and I'm doing presentations now you can do through Zoom and all these things. You got to kind of keep it fun and engaging. Otherwise, people can kind of tap out real easy. So unlike in person, you got to kind of have that edge, whether you're doing a live feed, whether you're doing a podcast. And so what I found is I just am able to unleash it really quickly
Yeah.
and just kind of go there quick. And then I can do that in my personal life too, but it's kind of annoying if you do it 24 hours a day,
Okay,
right?
so let's just talk about this. I would say that this is like a bit of a piece of your branding? Is it a kind of how they call it, a superpower? What would you call this?
I would say it's a superpower.
Okay.
Yeah. To have positive energy amongst a lot of things. And even though, you know, every day is different. And so certain days, you could come into the day saying, I'm going to have negative energy, and then you have to change it to positive. I found that when I need to perform, which is the podcast, which is when I'm on someone else's show, I need to give them value. I need to bring them energy. The person that's listening today that's down, I need to bring them up. And not because I want to, but because they need that in their ears.
Okay.
Sometimes you just need that. And so that's
Yeah.
part of what I do is I feel like I kind of go there. It's a performance, it's part of a,
So so here's like, I mean, the way I see it is that is actually your secret sauce.
yeah,
100%. And
yeah,
so the question is, do you actually sell your secret sauce? Like, McDonald's can sell their secret sauce, and then everyone can have the McDonald's secret sauce on
yeah,
their burgers too. That's an angle,
right.
right? Which is teaching people literally how to lift up their energy, which
Yeah.
I think is incredible.
Mm,
I don't think that people, by and large, can easily lift up their energy. I think
right.
it's heavy lifting for a lot of people, based on
Yeah.
my experience. And I
Yeah.
think the fact that you could just access it so quickly is extremely powerful. My question for you is, does it drain you in any way? Right? So I'd want to talk a little bit about that. We can
Sure.
kind of put that on hold for a moment,
Right.
right? But if you have access to that, that could be something you package, the
Mm,
secret sauce. Alternatively, you say, okay, no, we're not going to sell the secret sauce,
mm,
but the secret sauce is part of the brand, it's part of the burger, it's
right.
part of what people come for and they get delighted by.
Right.
It's like that surprise that is in the package, but not the package. And so you have to decide
Mm,
which one you want to play. I
interesting.
honestly think anything you do will work.
Right.
But for me, the real big question is, What's the cost of this? And if is there any? So is it draining? Is it something you can maintain over time?
Yeah. It's at scale, it's not draining. So at scale, if I can just do this and hop on a Zoom and talk to someone in Australia and then go to Japan and then, at scale, and then I don't have to travel and fly and do all that, it's not as draining. I will say that. And I've always built my business and my life around that. The fact of using technology, not pushing back on clients and saying, hey, we can do a Zoom, we can do a FaceTime more often, but I'm not coming and travel to you. You know what I mean? Like, it's just not in my DNA. It's not what I want to do. I'd rather travel for my own personal stuff. I don't want to travel to have a Zoom meeting with someone, basically. You know what I
Right.
mean? And so I kind of push back. And now, obviously, we live in a world where people accept that now. Thank God, in 2020, that's one of the blessings of it. Many not blessings, but one of the blessings is people now accept that you can push back and say, hey, technology. So if I do too much of it, though, it will drain me. So if I record too much, if I have too many podcasts in a week, I'll avoid them. Will just push back on things. I'll push back on my other things in life I need to get done because I got to get this done. And so that is the key thing. Gist of it is trying to figure out how much I can do. And then also I do my podcast and I'm not really charging people. There are some promotions and stuff we do to kind of make some additional revenue and help the guests. But in general, it's not a revenue making thing. It is part of the brand. It is hopefully part of a way for people to get a little positivity. It's a way of me leaving the world a little lasting place of this world of craziness.
Right.
20 years from now, you'll be able to deep dive if your boys keep going, and I'm sure I will be. Is that you'll have tons of stuff to hear about from my future generations. And so that's kind of a legacy I think that I'm leaving in a way that through amongst a lot of craziness, you still can be positive, and that will get you through it on the other side. Because if you stay in that other mindset, it just keeps building, and
So
you go the other way, And so,
let me tell you a little story, and
yeah,
then maybe we can think about how to apply what you do in this context,
there
okay?
you go. Let's
Because
go.
I know you have a daughter. Am I right?
Absolutely,
How
yeah,
old is she?
absolutely.
How old is she?
19 months now.
19 months. Okay.
Mm.
So the other day, so I have 5 kids, okay? And they're
Wow.
old now. Like
Shout
I'm
out to you.
old.
Shout out to
So
you, bro.
they're old. So I heard from one of my kids, he lives in Montreal. He's 24 years old and he is a chef in a restaurant.
Mm.
And apparently he told his team, somebody on his team, a younger team member, he said, give me 10. What comes up for you when I say, give me 10?
Push-ups.
Yeah, except that's not what he meant.
10 minutes break. High
Give me
fives.
10 things you're grateful for right now,
Ah,
immediately. And where did he get that from? He got it from me because when he was young and he was down and he was frustrated with the world, I'd grab a piece of paper and a pen and I'd say, give me 10.
sure.
Right. So what's he doing? He's asking people for 10.
Yep.
So think about that. A 24-year-old leader in a kitchen
That's
who,
cool.
instead of berating and beating up his staff, which is common in a kitchen,
Right.
he says, give me 10. So
Mm.
why am I sharing this with you? I'm sharing this with you because you have a massive opportunity to teach people the art of accessing a higher level of energy,
Yeah.
starting with your own family, the people who work for you, that
Mm.
team. And for me, like, here, let's do it right now. How do you do it? Like, you wake up in the morning, you didn't
Yeah.
sleep so well last night, but
I've
now
had a
you
rough
need to
morning so
bring
far.
it. How do you not let your your body, your situation, your, child who was up all night, how do you not let that get in your way?
Yeah. I mean, it's hard. Straight up. Every day is different. I will say that I try to find the fun out of it. It's still fun. It's an enjoyable perk. It's a fun thing to do podcasts, not only go on podcasts and bring value and meet new people and have a good lasting taste of that, but also have my own show. And then I'm also bringing this energy in different ways to my
But
life. But then
how? How do you do it?
I think the
You
biggest thing,
just,
you just break
let's
down the
say,
barrier of being afraid. I mean, what would you be afraid of? I mean, most people are afraid of being vulnerable. When you elevate your energy, you're going to be vulnerable. You're instantly going to be vulnerable. Some people are not going to like it. But part of another reason why is because I love my life. I love the fact that I get to do this. No one else gets to do this. I love my life. I'm looking at things in my life. I was telling you, Jonathan, earlier, that I started a sports card business because, as you know, I told you the story of how I collected sports and stuff. But I figured, hey, we need to diversify our business. Sports are probably a big thing for the future. Started getting into cards and grading cards, and how can we build communities around it? And we started building a community. The point is, I feel like vulnerability and the lack of that is what causes people to have the energy down. And when you're afraid, when you're not afraid to just be like, hey, this is who I am, let's go, and make mistakes too, because mistakes happen when you are in high energy level.
Okay,
And
so I'm going to give you a task.
let's go.
Okay, and you're going to send it to me, and maybe we'll
Okay.
do this again. But
Yeah.
here's the task.
Let's go.
I'm going to ask you to give me a top 10 list, but not of things you're grateful for. Top 10 ways to lift up your energy. Top 10 things. Top 10
Love that.
things to do, top 10 things to say.
Love
Like,
that.
one of the ways that you lift your energy is you speak loudly,
Yes.
right? What else? You're
L-
saying be vulnerable. How?
Speak loud and then be soft too.
Okay, so I want a top 10 list.
I love it.
Because what you're going to do is actually you're going to dive into yourself. You're going to tap in to that instinctive, intuitive knowledge that you have that you haven't been able to necessarily write down or share or teach.
Right. Yeah.
And what
I
you're
think
going
that's a
to
good point.
realize is that you actually have a whole bunch of knowledge inside, a whole, let's call it a set of intuitive logic that you're using, you're tapping into to raise your energy when you need it.
Right.
So then when we have that list, we're going to look at it and say, hey, is this actually something we want to teach people?
Right.
What do we want to do with this?
Got you. This is a really good point. Yeah, because I've been just curious what to do. I mean, because everyone, most times, especially when I throw in the video, we can have some fun. They say that in many different ways, and so it's like I've found that, yeah, it's been a blessing just to have that positive vibe towards people, and then know, like, when they talk to TF, it's gonna be fun, it's gonna be good. You're gonna get a good vibe, and you're gonna have to bring up your game too, because the energy that I'm bringing, you got to elevate. You can't just be Mr. Monotone. You got to be up a little bit too. And so I'm almost like training them in a personal way. I'm almost like a personal trainer for them in that moment. That I found that that's where we can maybe unlock, in that there's moments that you can basically train yourself to have and unlock higher energy levels quickly, fastly, easily by doing it. By,
Okay.
by recording 6 years of episodes on podcasts, by, talking on stages, and or just being that way in life.
Let me push you a little further.
Let's go.
Okay. Top 10 things that will help you elevate your energy. And then
Energy.
take each of those things and turn them into an exercise.
Mm,
So now you have the starting point, the foundation of potentially a training package.
wow, that's cool. That is very cool. I like that.
So this reminds me of me when I first started coaching.
Yeah.
And at first I was just coaching people. And then people said, well, how do you do that? And I'm like, I don't know. I just do it. And they said, well, must have a system. I'm like, no, it's just intuitive. I just coach people.
Yeah.
But when they pushed me, I realized like I had a whole training manual inside of me.
Right.
There was a system, a logic, a philosophy, an approach, methodology
Wow.
that
Yeah.
now I use to train people. And that's inside of you. And this
Yeah.
could be very valuable. But the idea is let's write it down and assess it first.
We got to. Yeah. I mean, that's what I think. Because I mean, I have so many other things on my docket that I'm like, do I want to be coaching and doing all this other stuff? It has to be something that I can do at scale, and it has to be something that is easily able for me to do, just like anything else I try to do in my life. But absolutely, it has to be on paper. It has to be something that physically people can do. I love this idea of taking the top 10 things that I'm able to do to lift my energy up, and then also maybe make an exercise or some sort of task that you can do like you would a push-up or a sit-up or something, to practice this little bit of energy
Right.
inflection.
So
And
as an example,
Mhm.
if number one is speak loudly, what's the exercise that I can practice when I'm not with Travis
Mhm.
to raise my voice, to
I love
speak
that.
loudly, to be more verbally enthusiastic?
I love that.
And maybe it's 3 exercises.
Yeah, I mean, the biggest thing you can do right now, I think, is that with all these masks and stuff, you can't even hardly hear each other. So saying to the person that you're seeing at a checking stand, hey, thanks so much. That might be it to start, because it not only it
Write
doesn't
that down.
yeah, I mean, I think it's really a really good point. Yeah, I am writing all this stuff down. I got a whole half a paragraph here. Um, yeah, I think that there's something to, yeah, just being able to practice these things in your normal life first before you start rolling them out to like on podcasts and in your real life. You can just start doing it just in other areas, and you'll find that if you do it in the right way, people are really grateful because right now we can't see each other's faces. So
Well, and I will say from a coaching standpoint
yeah.
that being able to, by choice, lift up your energy has an enormous personal benefit. Is that
Mm.
you're living your life happier, right?
True.
More grateful,
Amongst the pandemic.
more
Yeah,
more
exactly.
cheerful. And
Right.
that's a great thing. That's an amazing thing to do and to have. So
Very
I
true.
I can't wait for you to package this.
I love this idea. I love this idea. Thank you. Thank you. This is cool. I never, like I said, I was when we first talked about it, and then I was like, what can I really do? Because everything else, I could be a social media more. What am I going to do more of that? I was just trying to really uncover what am I going to do with this energy? Because, like I said, all of the greatest business ideas I ever had when I'm listening to my friend at Starbucks, listening to my customer Jim 2 years ago about my reputation business, this year listening to the market about sports cards, and this is like art and all this new stuff, and then now listening to the fact that people have been telling me about my energy on Zoom and things like this for years. It's just now more noticeable because we're all doing it, and people need to figure out ways to now be more entertaining, I think, on Zoom. So this might be the time to strike, the Zoom energy, not expert, but the Zoom energy, something. We're going to figure that out. The
We'll
Zoom
figure
energy.
that out. So here's the thing for those of you who are listening and want to learn more about how to raise your energy, literally send Travis an email. What is your email? Say it slowly.
Travis, TRAV, as in Victor, IS dot Huff, HUFF, as in Frank, at gmail.com. That is Travis.Huff at gmail.com. And if you want to actually call or text 559-905-0956, 559-905-0956. Well, bam.
And I hope you got something out of today's podcast, Travis. I
Oh,
hope you
dude, this
learned
is
something.
awesome. Are you kidding me, Kim?
Amazing. I want to say thank you for being my guest. Thank you for bringing your energy. Thank you for making me smile. Thank you for lifting me up. Thank you for being who you are. And to those of you who are listening, if there is a challenge that you would like to talk about on the podcast, please reach out to me. It's Kim at frameofmindcoaching.com. And if there's a challenge that you don't want to talk about on the podcast, reach out to me anyways. It's Kim at frameofmindcoaching.com. I cannot wait to hear from you. Travis, thank you. And I am sure we're going to speak again.
100. You're amazing, girl. Let's go.